In a sensational retraction, Canada denies it has evidence against Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar, and India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. On 29th October, Canada's two top officials during a hearing of Commons Committee on Public Safety and National Security named Amit Shah, India's Home Minister, for perpetuating violent campaign against pro-Khalistani Sikhs in Canada. Almost a fortnight later, when Washington Post first named Amit Shah in a report citing unidentified Canadian officials.
You can confirm then that the information about, for example, the Indian Home Affairs Minister and his alleged involvement in these crimes in Canada, that was not released in Canada, however. Can you confirm that? That was only released in the Washington Post, pardon me.
So this is not an information we provided to the journalist.
Pardon me, it was not information you provided?
No.
Who provided that information then to the journalist? You're not sure? But that was not yourself who provided that information, was it?
We did not.
Mr. Morrison, can you comment? Did you provide that information?
The journalist called me and asked me if it was that person. I confirmed it was that person.
Oh, you confirmed. So you did.
This is a journalist who's written extensively on this topic. A journalist that has various sources. He asked me if that was one of the people, and I confirmed that it was.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Quite unfair to the Canadian public that details were released in advance to the Washington Post and confirmed, according to Mr. Morrison, to the Washington Post, but not provided to Canada. Don't you find that odd?
The reason why we offered, as I said in my opening remarks, a background interview to the Washington Post was really to make sure that our side of the story will become clearly and be widely spread, especially at the international level. That was the strategy behind the background interview we gave.
The same narrative appeared in Canada's second top newspaper, The Globe and Mail, that wrote, and I quote, "Canadian security agencies believe Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India knew about the killing of a Sikh separatist leader in British Columbia and other violent plots, according to a senior national security official who worked on the intelligence assessment of New Delhi's foreign interference operations in Canada." Unquote. The newspaper went on to name Indian government top functionaries, and I quote, "The official said Canadian and American intelligence tied the assassination operations to Home Minister Amit Shah. Also in the loop, the officer said, was Mr. Modi's trusted National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and External Affairs Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar.
And the protection of our citizens is paramount. That's why, when our law enforcement and intelligence officials began pursuing credible allegations that agents of the Government of India were directly involved in the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar, on Canadian soil, we responded.
Regrettably, as India did not agree, and given the ongoing public safety concerns for Canadians, Canada served notices of expulsions to 6 diplomats and consular officials early this morning. Subsequent to those notices, India announced it would withdraw its officials. To be clear, we're not seeking diplomatic confrontation with India, but we will not sit quietly as agents of any country are linked to efforts to threaten, harass, or even kill Canadians, period. Canada is guided by the rule of law. We follow the Vienna Convention at all times, and we expect, of course, India to do the same as well.
India's External Affairs Ministry spokesperson, Mr. Randir Jaiswal, on 20th November issued a statement that reads, "We do not normally comment on media reports. However, such ludicrous statement made to a newspaper purportedly by a Canadian government source should be dismissed with the contempt they deserve. Smear campaign like this only further damage our already strained ties." Unquote. The sustained, unsubstantiated allegation by Canada and using media to spread the smear campaign against India has had perpetuation as Canada's government led by Justin Trudeau penned unholy pro-Khalistani Sikhs to remain in power.
Obviously, the killing of a Canadian on Canadian soil is not something that we can ignore as a country. So every step of the way, we have apprised India of what we know. I've spoken directly with Prime Minister Modi. We have engaged with intelligence counterparts And unfortunately, every step of the way, both after I made the statement in the House of Commons last September and till now, the response of the Indian government has been to deny, to obfuscate, to attack me personally and the integrity of the Government of Canada and its officials and its police agencies. And we have simply said, we're going to allow our agencies to do the work.
Strangely, Nathalie Drouin, intelligence advisor to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, posted a statement of denial on a government website late on Thursday night. Quote, on October 14th, because of a significant and ongoing threat to public safety, the RCMP and officials took the extraordinary step of making public accusations of serious criminal activity in Canada perpetuated by agents of the Government of India. The Government of Canada has not started nor is it aware of evidence linking Prime Minister Modi, Minister Jaishankar or NSA Doval to the serious criminal activity within Canada. Any suggestion to the contrary is both speculative and inaccurate, unquote. According to Canadian RCMP, 4 Indian nationals have been charged in Nizza's killing. Indian government, however, rejects any suggestion its agents were involved in violence against Sikh separatists on Canadian soil. Your channel National Defence investigated Nizza's murder and found RCMP subdued many facts and Nizza's killing was a result of gang rivalry and the murder was committed in a modus operandi similarly adopted in gangland killings in British Columbia happening from many years before the murder of Nizza. Washington Post on 14th October published an article saying, quote, conversations and texts among Indian diplomats include references to a senior official in India and a senior official in RAW, who have authorized the intelligence gathering missions and attacks on Sikh separatists, the Canadian officials said. Canadian officials identified the senior official in India as Amit Shah, a member of Modi's inner circle who serves as Home Affairs Minister. Spokespeople in India's Ministry of External Affairs and its Home Ministry, which oversees national security matters, did not respond to requests for comment about Shah's alleged role, unquote. The Post again wrote, and I quote, Canadian officials shared details about the references to Shah and other evidence that India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval at a secret meeting in Singapore on Saturday. Canadians who took part in the meeting included Trudeau's National Security Advisor Nathalie Drouin and Deputy Foreign Minister David Morrison as well as a top RCMP official, unquote. Canada's Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs David Morrison has alleged that India's Home Minister Amit Shah has ordered violence, threats and an intelligence gathering campaign targeting Sikh separatists living in Canada. Morrison told lawmakers on the National Security Committee that he had confirmed Shah's name with the Washington Post, which first published news of the allegations. Referring to Shah, Morrison told the committee, quote, the reporter called me and asked if it was the same person. I confirmed that it is the same person, unquote. However, Morrison did not say how Canada found out about Shah's alleged involvement. Nathalie Drouin, National Security Advisor to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, told the committee on Tuesday that Canada has evidence that the Indian government first collected information about Indian and Canadian citizens in Canada through diplomatic channels and proxies. She said that this information was then passed on to the New Delhi government, which allegedly works with a criminal network linked to Lawrence Visnoy. Drouin, however, alleged that Vishnoi's vast criminal network was linked to murder, conspiracy to murder and other violent incidents in Canada. She said that efforts are on to work with the Government of India to ensure accountability. Drouin said that there was a meeting with Ajit Doval, National Security Advisor of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Singapore 2 days ago. She said that when it became clear that the Indian government would not cooperate with Canada on the proposed accountability measures, the decision was taken to make it public. The revelation made by Nathalie Drouin has been criticized by the opposition in Canada. Why didn't the Prime Minister, his foreign ministers and the Canadian police make this information public when they expelled 6 Indian diplomats? Conservative MP Raquel Dancho said it was published in the Washington Post before it was released in Canada, which is a pity. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau claimed a year ago that Canada has strong evidence that Indian government agents were involved in the June 2023 killing of Canadian Sikh activist Hardeep Singh Nizza in British Columbia. Canadian officials have repeatedly said they have shared evidence of this with Indian officials. Officials of the Indian government have denied the evidence given by Canada in the Nizza case and described the allegations as absurd. But the big question is why Canada retracted the names of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval now. Does it have something to do with this picture? Prime Minister Modi and PM Justin Trudeau appearing in the same frame with the US President Joe Biden? Or is there some important secret information that Indian government needs to declassify about Canada's top government functionaries when they landed in Delhi during G20 summit hosted by India? Thanks for watching National Defense. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram.